Hi everyone. This video is about bonus block number 2 in our 2021 Jelly Roll Block of the Month challenge. It's a super fun block to make. It's quick and easy. And if you'd like to join in this challenge, you can find a link to my Facebook group in the description right under this video. And that's where you'll find everything you need to participate. So let's get sewing. So for those of you who prefer to use written instructions for this block, as always, the PDF will be included in the group file so you can get it there. Just set that aside. So I've decided to use a quite simple block for this second bonus block. July block, which will be coming soon, is more complicated. It involves strip sets, subcutting, and lots of nesting. So I thought I would keep this one a lot more simple and show you how we use strip sets and subcutting for those of you who have never done it. Most of the time when you see a rail fence block, not most of the time, but often, you'll see it done from 4 strips, which gives you approximately a 14-inch finished block. But because our blocks are 12.5 inches, I'm going to use only 3 strips. So the first thing you're going to do is select 3 strips. You want something with contrast, whatever you find appealing. If you want to go too dark, one light, or a dark, a medium, a light, whatever you prefer, and arrange them in the order that you like. I put my lightest in the center so there would be more contrast with the 2 darker colors. The strips are normally 42 inches long, so you're going to cut them down to 27 inches. We will likely have about an inch left over when we're finished subcutting, but I prefer that you have an inch left over that's wasted rather than have your squares too short and your block will be missized. So the 15 inches that I cut off of each strip, of course I've saved them so I can use them later on in another quilt block, or I can use them in my border at the end when I assemble my sampler quilt. So this is really an easy block. The first thing we're going to do is sew the top to the center. And we're going to use a 1/4 inch seam. You want to be very exact with your seam so that you have the correct measurements after it's sewn together. So I'm going to use a 1/4 inch seam and I'm going to sew left to right. As I've mentioned before, apparently if you change from left to right and then the next piece from right to left, you will avoid having buckling or warping in your strip set. So you want to go left to right on the first one, a nice 1/4 inch seam, not a 1/2 inch, a 1/4 inch, and I'll be back to attach the second piece. Here we are. I have my 2 strips sewn together. I've pressed my 1/4 inch seam towards the top. You can press towards the top or the middle. It doesn't matter because there's no nesting involved in this block. And now I'm going to attach the bottom strip. And for this strip, I'm going to sew right to left so that I keep my strip set nice and straight without any bowing or warping. So I'll get that sewn, I'll press again, and I'll be back to subcut it into squares. And here we are with my 3 strips assembled. And you can see that they're straight. I don't have any warping in them. So now we're going to subcut it. So I'm just going to line this up so I can get a nice straight edge. And what you want to do is measure your strips. If your strips are accurate 2.5 inch and your seams are accurate 1/4 inch, you should have a 6.5 inch total for the 3 strips. So now we're just going to cut down my ends so they're nice and straight. And then we can start measuring from there. So I'm just going to take this off and we'll take it away. There we go, we have a nice straight edge. So whatever your measurement is from top to bottom, you're going to use that measurement to subcut. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a half. Actually, I think I'm going to take a longer ruler. It will be easier to line it up straight. So 2, 4, 6 and a half. There's my first square. I'll do 6 and a half again. 2, 4, 6 and a half. Double check, because if you cut the wrong length, you'll have to redo your strip set because you'll be short. There's 2. Move this over. Line it up nice and straight. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a half. Three. And my fourth will be 6 and a half also. Let's get it straight. There we go. 2, 4, 6 and a half. And we'll cut it off. And so we have our 4 squares ready, and you can see that we have this waist. You could keep it for something else, trim on something, or throw it away if you don't think you're going to need it. I'll throw that aside, but that was my point of cutting the strips down to 27 inches. I didn't want to be short, and I didn't want to have too much waist. So that's what we have left over. Okay, so this is a super easy block to assemble. We have 1 square horizontal, the next square vertical, and you can see they line up nicely, and you have no nesting. This is vertical. You're going to put vertical on this side and horizontal on this side. We'll turn it around. So you want to watch your pattern if you're using pattern fabric. You want to watch your pattern. I have 2 like this and 2 like this. If I turn it around, I have 1, 2, 3 the same and 1 different. So I want to make sure that I use my patterns in a way that's pleasing to the eye. You want to keep it nice. You can also turn this around, turn this one around, and I like that. It's kind of a star shape in the center, so I think I'll use it like that. So the next thing I'm going to do is create 2 rows. So I'm going to take this, attach it here, and sew with a 1/4 inch seam, and do the same on this one. Press my seams flat so they're set, and keep my block very nice and flat, no bulky seams. A 1/4 inch on each one. I'll press them and I'll be back for the final step. And here we are with our 2 rows, all ready to assemble. So all we have to do now is attach the top to the bottom. You do want to be careful to line up your center seam to keep it nice and straight. Make sure your center seam is lined up. Everything fits nicely together. We're going to sew a 1/4 inch seam. Press it super well to set our seams and keep your block nice and flat. So I'll get that done and I'll be back to show you the finished block. And here we are, our finished block. Isn't that cute? I love it. So you can see that I've pressed all my seams super flat. You want to keep your quilt super flat, your quilt blocks. They're going in consistent directions. Nothing is buckled. I've used 1/4 inch seams and kept everything nice and flat. I need to square up my block. As you can see this little bit here, I need to square that up so I have a nice 12.5 inch finish. And I'll be done. So I hope you're going to enjoy making this block. It's super easy to do. So stay tuned for our July block coming soon. And if you aren't already participating, please check below this video. You'll find links to my sewing group where you can join in. All the block information is available there. Please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.